Welcome to the world's biggest online homeopathy summit. I am Dr. Suman Haldar, your host today.
I would like to introduce Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad. Uh, he is an internationally acclaimed homeopath, teacher, and author. He has his private clinic in Mumbai, and he is also doing his research on thyroid disorders, PCOD, and various autoimmune diseases with homeopathy. He has given many seminars all across India and in Europe, and his knowledge is known as hybrid of classical homeopathy and as advanced kingdom approach. Okay, in this part of the country, in like eastern part of the India, we are really appreciated for our classical approach. But sometimes we may need to know how homeopathy is going on in different parts of the world and different parts of the country. He follows these two ways simultaneously in parallel way, mostly classical homeopathy, sometimes advanced kingdom approach. Actually, maybe these are not contradictory to one another. Maybe sometimes we may need various approaches in as per case basis. Maybe he will be talking much more about it in our panel discussion also. But now he is a teaching faculty in the Adarsh Sangha Academy, Mumbai. He has written many books. He has sent me so many of his books, and these books are fascinating. Yeah, he has sent me the hard copies, and it is pleasure to read. His latest book written by him is Decoding Mental Rubrics. I have gone through it. It is very wonderful. Every student of homeopathy, I think, should read this book. And another book is Metermatica of Sarcodes and Nosodes. We have much more things to know from him, but I think it would be better for everyone if we can hear something about his education, something about his evolution as a speaker, as an internationally acclaimed author, how he actually maybe sometimes in NIH, I was associated with him during my PG courses. I saw him. He was a person coming from Mumbai, and every day sitting in the OPDs, going through cases and learning new things and bringing newer books, and asking every teachers why this is happening, why it is written, why this medicine should not be prescribed, why this medicine should be prescribed. I have seen the enthusiasm, the encouragement, the passion in him. Maybe these are the qualities that have made him rise high. Dr. Gaurang, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Suman. I hope you can hear me clear.
Yeah, it is loud and clear.
Perfect. So, thank you for this invite, and I'm going to start with the talk by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann in front of us. We've never met him actually, but the kind of inspiration he gives us is remarkable. But for me, along with Samuel Hahnemann, I have seen Hahnemann in all of my teachers in my own way. And these are all the people, you can see them on my screen, who have inspired me different times in last 15 years, right from Dr. Sankaran to Dr. Sarkar to Dr. Subhas Singh, Dr. L.M. Khan, Dr. Milind Rao, and Dr. Vijay Vaishnav. So all of them have made such a huge kind of impression on me that for me, I find Hahnemann in all of them. So let's come to today's talk, and I'm going to be talking for next 75 minutes. And I'm hoping that I can at least present 7 cases. I will go a little slower initially, step by step, and then we'll build it up. So my talk today is about homeopathic approach in acutes and especially in emergency conditions. For me, the main cornerstone of homeopathy, and for all of us, is individualization. And the best can be spoken about by the 153rd aphorism, which says that the more striking, singular, uncommon, peculiar signs and symptoms of the case of the disease are most solely to be kept in view. As Borland has written in his writings, 6 important points to be remembered as a physician. 1, to observe. 2nd, to listen. 3rd, to write. 4, to question. 5th, to examine. And 6th, to coordinate. These are the important qualities you need to have while case observation. The most important thing in analysis is case taking. And in case taking, there are different areas that you have to go into. I'm going to take you gradually into the way I analyze, and then I'll go to the cases. The most important thing for me during the analysis is the chief complaint. What is the chief complaint? The location of the chief complaint, the sensation, the modality, the concomitant, but also the observation. What is the energy when the patient comes in front of you? Very often we ask the questions, what is the effect of this problem on you? Very often when you ask the patient, what is the effect of this problem, you can actually see the sensitivity of the patient. The exciting factor, how it started, past history of illness. This would be very, very important in the asking of the case taking. Next, we focus at the generalities, the generals, the thermals, the craving, aversion, the past sexual history, appetite, sleep, etc. And finally, we focus at going deeper at the mind state. And what do we do in the mind state? We try to go in different areas in the mind state, understanding the nature, the state of mind, the fears, the dreams, the crisis situation, the childhood, the interest and hobbies, observations of people around. So when we take case taking, it is in a very, very holistic level. We try to go in different areas and try to probe till we can find a deeper pattern. And there are many different approaches in homeopathy. As Dr. Suman, who I know since more than 10 years now, I met him, I think 10 years back. The main thing in homeopathy, there are many approaches. And that's why it's important to know all the approaches so that like an artist, you can use the approach. And that's what I do. I look at the case, I look at the type of the case, and depending on the type of the case, I choose the approach. So my talk is going to be about this, that the choice of the approach depends on the type of the case. This is what I do. This is what I do for my living. Every case, we'll have to understand different approaches. So let's start with the first case for today. I'm going to present to you 3 separate cases of dengue. Difficult cases. I'll start with them, and I'm going to show some more cases as well. But 3 different cases of dengue and how I have analyzed in every case. All right. So number 1 case. So this is a case of a dengue. You can see positive, NS1 positive. And this guy, I saw him last year. He must be about 20-year-old. And his main symptoms are that since few days, he gets a lot of chills all over the body, rigors, and he needs a lot of blanket on him. He cannot tolerate draft of air at all. Slightest uncovering blankets aggravate. He doesn't feel like eating at all. He doesn't get any taste of the food. And he has now started getting dry cough, unable to get the expectorations out. So when I'm doing the case taking, I'm not only looking at what are the symptoms that patient is saying, but I also observe that this patient is coming with a covering and he's shivering. These are minor observations you have to learn. One of my gurus from Kolkata, Dr. Sarkar, used to tell me, you have to develop the clinical eye. And this clinical eye can only be developed after sitting, after devoting your time and energy with masters of homeopathy. So that's what I saw in this case. A lot of shivers, but he wanted a lot of coverings as well. Very important as a homeopath, examine the patient. So when I examined the patient, I saw that one hand is cold, other hand is hot. This is peculiar, that you see a patient, but the individuality is that one hand is cold, another hand is hot. I give a lot of importance to observations in homeopathy. The fever spells, he's taking paracetamol, not coming down, platelets are going low, and he feels better after eating a lot. So this is what we have in front of us for now. We go further. He tells, very interestingly, he tells that he feels very dull. He doesn't feel energy to do anything. He gets many frightful dreams. Very interesting cases. He's getting chills, but he's getting dreams also. And what is the dream he gets? That someone with a knife will come and stab him. and someone is behind and will come and just stab him. He keeps running, running. But he can't do anything and he feels very, very scared. Very interestingly, he says, I get one dream repeated in last 3-4 days. And the repeated dream is that the knife which someone is coming and stabbing to me becomes big and small, big and small. So strange. This is what we need to know. In homeopathy, it is very, very important to know what is strange. I asked him, what did you feel in the dreams? So he says, I feel very scared. I feel very confused. He says that I feel very, very exhausted because I felt that the whole night the dream went on and on and on and on. It was a very long dream. That's what he says. So now, how do we analyze this case? Very, very interesting. Interesting case. And you can see how I'm understanding the chief complaint, how I'm understanding the mind state, how I'm understanding the sensation. So I want to now teach you something very interesting, which I do. I don't try to solve the case by one approach. I try to solve the case by different approaches. So I can solve the case by Kantian approach. I solve the case by Bonninghausen approach. I solve the case by sensation approach. I solve the case by kingdom approach. I solve the case by keynote. And I can see a parallel thing going throughout. So now let's try to analyze this case by one of the approaches. And I would like to call this as a repertorial approach. So when you use the repertorial approach and you just look at the rubrics from Phatak repertory. Let's see what I took from Phatak repertory. This is an amazing, amazing repertory that I use, Phatak. And the main thing about Phatak repertory, it's a very small, concise repertory. It's an alphabetical repertory. But the beauty of it is that if you know how to use the rubrics, you are a master, my friends. So the main rubrics I took, you can see taste, which is dull, flat, insipid, fever, eating, ameliorate. And finally, the most peculiar, hands, one cold, one warm. And you can see the only remedy that comes through is the remedy Cinchona, which is so interesting. The remedy China. Interestingly, I wanted to present this case as the first because this is actually through Cinchona that we came to homeopathy. Now, I tried to understand the dream. Now, see how I have analyzed the dream. Understand the dream analysis. So the main feeling in the dream is dreams of being stabbed. What other part of the dream? That he feels that a dream is very long. It's continued for a very long time. What other thing about the dream? Very vivid. What you mean by vivid? He remembers everything very well. Another dream and the feeling that enemies are pursuing him. And finally, the peculiar thing that the knife becomes large and small. See, when you hear a symptom, you think, yaar, maine ye to suna nahi, I never heard this. This is where you have to learn the artistic use of repertory. Dreams growing things, object larger and smaller. And you can see in that there are only 2 remedies. This I have repertorized with complete repertory. And you can see the remedy that comes up, the remedy China. Finally, I've now analyzed just the rubrics of fever. And what is the symptom? Chills, which are undressing aggravates. Chills, single part. Chills, draft of air aggravates. And chill, cough without expectoration. And again, you can see China coming up. So this is the beauty of analyzing the same case by different areas, from the dreams, from the physical symptoms, etc. And now that we want to understand China, that is Cinchona, what is the thing I want to talk to you about Cinchona is if you understand Cinchona, China belongs to the family of Rubiaceae, which is the family of Ipecac, which is the family of Coffea. And what is the main idea of Coffea? Stimulation, lot of ideas, lot of thoughts. Mind is very active. And this activity, you can also see in the dream that someone is coming from behind, and the knife becomes large, small, and someone is stabbing and he feels scared. So this kind of stimulated state of mind is Rubiaceae family. So this is what you have to learn, not just the rubrics, but also the family that the remedy belongs into. And you can understand so much more about homeopathy through that. Also, what is the main idea of Cinchona? Let's try to understand a little bit about Cinchona. The main genius of Cinchona is intermittency, exhaustiveness, chilly, active mind, too many thoughts. And the main delusion of Cinchona is delusion persecuted. This is the main delusion that the patient had also, that someone is harassing him, that someone is coming from behind and stabbing. So you can understand, interestingly, for a lot of my colleagues, my teachers who are from the world of keynotes from Kolkata, it would have been very easy. You can just open Alan's keynote. one hand warm, another hand cold. China digitalis aconite lycopodium. You can do like this also. So you can see that all the approaches are not wrong. All approaches are right in their own way. And the main thing in today's time for homeopathy is we have to come together, use all the approaches together. So let's see a little bit more about China. What is the main thing I see in China? Generally in China, all stages of fever are very, very prominent. Chill, heat, and sweat. And more importantly, generally in any stage of China, thirst is absent. Thirst is always after chill or after heat. So this is a little bit of idea that I used to give the remedy China. So I've given China 1M 2 times a day for 2 days repeatedly. So I generally use high potency 1M. This I learned from Borderlands pneumonia, but I use this potency especially in cases where the state of mind is very, very prominent. So in this case, you can see the state of mind is very prominent. So if you remember our case, let's come back to our case. You could see the NS1 positive, and with the help of China 1M, just within 4 days, it has come negative. And very nicely, the platelets have beautifully improved, which was below 30,000, and very nicely it has come to 1 lakh within 4 days. So this is the beauty of homeopathy that I wanted to talk to you about. But the main thing is the artistic homeopathy, which is a real gem. Let's go to the next remedy. I'm going to go a little faster because I believe we have a little less time, and I have so much to share, so much to talk to all of you, because genuinely, I think we have to just devote our life to homeopathy, and homeopathy will take care of us. All right, so let's come to another case. Now, this is totally another case. This is a case. My only request is do not click pictures of the videos of patients that I'm showing you, because these are very sensitive cases. So I wanted to share with all of you. I've taken the permission of the patient before telling you. So this is a case of dengue with dropsy. So this is a case of a 3-year-old child, a child who has come with dengue, admitted in the hospital, not responding to anything. And then I have gone and I have taken the history and treated with homeopathy. Let us see. A child, a baby, you can see the tongue. And you can see there is a total dropsy, total fluid accumulation in the chest, fluid accumulation in the abdomen. Platelets, you can see very nicely in the reports. It's 63,000. You know, normally it's from between 150,000 to 4 lakhs. And you can see the abdomen is totally swollen up. Every case, you know, Dr. Saurav has spoken so beautifully. I want to congratulate him to today's talk. He spoke beautifully. And I'm going to just accentuate what he said, that the importance of evidence-based homeopathy. Very important for us to really document the cases. So we are looking at this child who was totally dropsical with dengue. Now, how do we solve this case? I want all of you. This is a quiz for you, my friends. I'm going to tell you this case, and whoever tells me the correct remedy, you have to just write on the chat the correct remedy, and it has to be before next 2 minutes. I'm going to send one of my books as a gift after the lockdown is over. It's a very interesting case because this case taught me a lot. All right. I hope Dr. Suman, you just watch who sends the first right answer. Whoever is the first right answer on the comment gets my book as a gift.
Yeah,
so this is the case of high-grade fever, 103 fever, fever with chills, high pulse, bright tongue, thirstless during fever, platelets going on. See, this is a case of a child. Fever started after change of weather, dengue positive, swelling all over the body, foot, abdomen, pleural effusion, itching on the feet, itching at night. Sleep is disturbed due to itching, totally thirstless, no appetite, no desire, bitter taste in the mouth. Liver is totally swollen on the sonography. Abdomen, you've seen the inches, 19 inch. So interesting. This type of cases are coming, which are not managed by modern medicine, and they are coming to homeopathy. And I want to share with you the real gem of homeopathy. Now I understand the state of mind. What is the state of mind? Very irritable, cross, very snappish. Whatever you're just talking to him and they'll just snap. Hey, to it. This is the way they speak. The child speaks. Screams a lot. Slightest thing you talk to him and he will scream the hell out of you. The mother is just touching and she's like, "Haath mat laga." So this is the sensitivity and irritability of the child. And also he's very dull. So my dear friends, and I hope Dr. Suman is here with me, what could be the remedy? Exactly 30 seconds you have. Think. What comes to your mind? Okay. So what the remedy? See, normally the remedy you'll think of is Sina, isn't it? Very irritable, cross, doesn't want to be touched. Now my question, does Sina have the pathology? Does Sina have the pathology of dropsy? This is the art, dear friends. This is the art you have to learn. So what did I do? This I have to tell you. This is very like Sina, very irritable, very snappish, wants to hit, wants to strike, wants to cause injury. But it is not Sina. So I think like this, and this is the approach I want to share with all of you, my dear friends, the approach of kingdom. The kingdom approach, which we are using in Mumbai and all across India and everywhere. The approach of kingdom, the approach of miasm, the approach of finding different remedies from the kingdom and then analyzing it with repertory and materia medica, what we call as the synergy approach. So, same family, but can it be a different remedy from the same family? Which remedy from the family of Sina? Which family does Sina belong into? Yes, think it is compositive. So can there be another remedy from compositive family which has the same pathology? So the remedy that I chose from the same family is the remedy Cordus Morianus. Cordus Morianus belongs to the same family of compositive, interestingly, and has similar pathology. So what does Cordus has written? Fatak Materia Medica. This is what you have to learn. It's primarily a liver and spleen remedy, and it causes dropsy of the congestion of the liver and spleen, and it has symptoms of chills and fever like that of dengue. So, and you can see the main idea of, and you can see so many remedies from this family: arnica, Sina, chamomilla, Cordus. This is the way you have to learn. Interestingly, the tongue also interesting. So that's what I gave. What did I give? What remedy I gave? So I gave Cordus Morianus. And what did I give? I gave Cordus Morianus in tincture form, 6 drops in warm water 3 times a day. Okay, so this is what I want to tell you. Flexibility in homeopathy. I use all potency from 1M, 10M, 50M to CM to mother tincture to 6C, everything. We have to be flexible. We can't be fixed. This is what Dr. Subhash Singh the other day told. We have to be united and we have to take everyone together, learn all approaches. So that's what I did. I gave Cordus Morianus, and I want to show you the follow-up. Within next 72 hours, the child was removed from the hospital, brought back home. The swelling was reduced, and you can see the abdomen now, and he's now having a totally normal life. And you can see the child is totally fine. And you can also see the reports. Just have a look at the platelets. You remember the platelets was 63,000. This is within 4 days. The platelet has gone to 250,000. This is what I want to share with you. The art of homeopathy. Homeopathy is not only about giving just one. You feel weakness, take arsenic. You feel chills, give China. You feel body ache, give Rustox. No, it is a very, very artistic science. Learn the art.
Yeah, Dr. Gaurang, actually.
So, another case.
Yeah.
Another case. I have many cases. I'm going to keep talking and talking and talking.
Before going to the next
a lot of time
case,
to prepare.
Yeah.
So this is another case, but this is an easy case.
Before going to the next case. Yes. Yeah. You cannot hear me. I know. That's why I'm idioting you.
Just wait. Let me finish one more case and I'll get back. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'll lose the flow. So another case. This is a case of dengue. Another case of dengue. Okay. Here you can very nicely you can see NS1 positive. Okay. Of a female. Let's see what are the symptoms. Past 3 days, platelets going down, fever 104, dry cough, no thirst. But what is the symptom? Salivation during cough. Fever, unable to sleep due to that. I ask, which part of the body is more heat? So there is more heat in ear, in face, in eye. Do you feel chilliness? No. How did it start? It started after coryza, and after that the fever started. The water that she is drinking now is very bitter to taste. State of mind. Feels very dull, doesn't feel like talking much. The appetite doesn't feel like eating also. No other symptom. So now you saw in every case, the case was different. Now in this case, symptoms are totally different. They are more physical. So when I see physical symptoms more, I use the approach of Bonninghausen. So I've really learned different approaches. But one of the very interesting approach in acutes is the approach of Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory. Unfortunately, I may not have enough time to talk to you about all different repertories today, but I'll tell you something about it. So how did I analyze? Let's look at the rubrics. So these are the rubrics I've taken from Boger Bonninghausen's characteristics repertory. First rubric, fever, pathological types, catarrh, fever, concomitant cough, dry tickling without thirst, cough, concomitant salivation flow with, look at this rubric, cough concomitant with flow of saliva. Then fever concomitant sleep yawning, fever concomitant sleeplessness, fever partial heat on ears, fever partial heat on eyes. So you have to understand how we have just taken the rubrics. And then we have checked the materia medica. Based on that, I've given arsenic 30. And just within arsenic 30, I've frequently repeated every 6 hourly, the fever has subsided within 2 days. Very nicely, the generalities have improved and the appetite has come back. And very nicely, you can see within next 48 hours, the dengue test has been negative and the platelets have improved. So this is the beauty that I want to talk to you about, how in every case, how beautifully in every case, the approach is different. One case I tried to show you with complete repertory. Another case I showed you with BBCR, Boger Bonninghausen. Another case I showed you with FATAC. Another case I showed you with Kingdom. Now one more case, next case. This is a case of ITP, 5-month child. Let us have a look. What's happening with, and if you see very nicely, the current platelet is 13,000. I'm talking about, you can see 13,000 platelet. Okay. And also it is also a kind of autoimmune condition. You can see ANA is positive. Every case I'm showing you with reports. You can see the case of the child, baby. They have suggested for bone marrow testing and they have come to homeopathy. They contacted me, asked me what should we do. So from this case, I am going to show you something very interesting. Again, let's Dr. Suman, one more poll we'll have at the end of this case. I will ask them what remedy they think. Okay. So this is a case and the child admitted in hospital, low platelet, transfusion done, still platelets is going down, no symptoms, dropsy, bleeding, purpura hemorrhagica. What to do? So now they have contacted me and I've started studying the case. And what is the symptom? Lot of sweat on the scalp, lot of sweat all over the body, constantly wants to eat, likes to sleep on the abdomen, very obstinate, likes to be carried, needs to be in open air, very restless, cannot sit in one place. So the first thing I see about the child is a lot of restlessness. Then we study the mother's history during pregnancy. What is the peculiarity? Hemoglobin goes down during pregnancy, she says. She had a lot of fear of dogs. In fact, all fears of anyone who would come suddenly towards her. Craving for meat, sour, sweets. What to do? Very chilly. Dreams of snakes. So she gets a lot of dreams of snake during pregnancy. Dreams of robbers. Now today, for the first time, I'm going to share with you how I have failed. I'm going to show you a case where my first remedy has not worked at all. And then what did I do? So this is very important. I want to tell you with this platform is that it is not always that you give a remedy and there is a miracle. It doesn't happen. I want to tell you it doesn't happen. Very often, the best remedies have been prescribed in the review, in the second follow-up, in the third follow-up. So I have given the first remedy to the child, tuberculinum. Very restless, and there were many symptoms. But, dear friends, it did not work. No change. No change at all after tuberculinum. So what do? We study the case again. This is what we have to do. When we don't get a remedy, when we don't get result, you don't have to sit and cry and say, oh, this remedy, that remedy. You have to sit with the patient again, study the remedy again, study the case again. So what did I study? Lot of new symptoms are coming up. What are the new symptoms? Dr. Suman, you wait for the analysis from the people. Okay, I'm going to just finish this slide and then we'll wait for people's analysis. So the child feels, and what I see is that child is constantly putting the fingers in the mouth like this, constant putting fingers in the mouth. And the left side of the abdomen is very painful because the spleen is very enlarged. Especially all the symptoms are aggravated when the patient is lying on the left side with a huge enlarged spleen. Very restless. The child is very restless, cannot sit in one place, but huge splenomegaly. Now what to do? So this is a little bit of a quiz. I'm going to wait exactly for 30 seconds. What would be the remedy now with this totality? Can you think? You have to think what to do. First remedy has failed. You have the history of the first time plus new symptoms. Now what to do? All right. So I'll tell you what I did. I hope Dr. Suman looks at the answers and keeps a tab on the remedy. So what did I do? So I tried to think in a different way. So what remedy I gave, I'll show you. So I analyzed the case in different way. I looked at the rubrics again. And what are the rubrics? Gestures, put fingers, mouth in children. In mother's history during pregnancy, dreams of robbers, dreams of snake, and pain in the splenic region lying on left side. And which remedy I found? Very, very interesting remedy. The remedy Ceanothus. The remedy Ceanothus is the remedy I found. Very, very interesting remedy. You will never ever think of this remedy so easily because this is a remedy you normally don't think of in repertory. We normally only think of Polychrest remedy. So after that, I studied Ceanothus from Pierce, plain Materia Medica talks. And what is written? The indigenous shrub derives its common name for the fact that during revolution, the Chinese tea could not be procured. And it has been done, a lot of work on this remedy has been done by Burnett. Chronic inflammation and hypertrophy of spleen seems to be the special province of this remedy. There may be pain or not. Sometimes there is dyspnea. For clinical reports, read Burnett's article in Hale's remedy. Little board, so we have to study. Homeopathy is not a cakewalk. You have to read a lot of different sources. It is not 1 + 1 is not 2 in homeopathy. You have to study different sources. You have to study different articles. You have to go to the provings. I learned this in Kolkata from Dr. Subhas Singh. How he used to teach us that go to the provings, go to the depth. And I really appreciate the Kolkata homeopathy also. But I also appreciate the homeopathy that is done in Mumbai. And I appreciate from all different levels because everyone has something interesting to say. And the best thing is to learn everything together. So I often say, कि मैंने हर घाट का पानी पिया है. And that's what I want to tell it to all my young friends and homeopaths there. That learn from everywhere, but do what is right according to you. Now let's see what Boric writes about Ceanothus. See how beautifully it's written. This remedy seems to possess a specific relation to spleen. First line, spleen. It's a left-sided remedy. Anemic patients where liver and spleen are affected. And see the last line. Active hemostatic, materially reducing the clots of blood. So you can see it has an action on the blood cells. And also as a symptom, lying on left side aggravates. So interesting. So that's what I gave. I gave Ceanothus 32 times a day for 1 month. And with Ceanothus 32 times a day for 1 month. So beautifully. I want to show you. You remember the reports before, hopefully. So you could see, let me show you the platelet count. You can see the platelet was 13,000, which was not improving. And with the help of Ceanothus, I want to show you the platelet count. Let's have a look. Where are you? You can see the platelet count is now above 1 lakh with the help of homeopathy. This is the beauty which I want to show, and the child was so much better. So this is what I want you to learn about Ceanothus americanus. This is why I tell you, explore, innovate, go to the new level. It belongs to Rhamnaceae family. And now I've developed a new Materia Medica from the clinical hints from different literature. Because normally we only think Ceanothus for spleen, but Ceanothus can be thought about for cases of low platelets with blood-related dyscrasia, all types of blood-related dyscrasia, spleen-related pathologies, dreams of snakes, dreams of animals, and dreams of robbers. Little bit like belladonna. You will see belladonna or calcarea carb, this type of state. And especially in children who constantly put fingers in the mouth. So when you get this totality, think about Ceanothus. So amazing, so amazing. And it feels so beautiful to be able to part of the healing process in a case of a baby more than anything else, isn't it? All right. I'm now going to go to my next presentation. Let me see. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next case. Are you all with me? Dr. Suman, all okay? Audio is okay?
Yes, everything is okay. Everything is loud and clear. Everything is loud and clear.
Okay. So I'm going to take at least half an hour more. Can I take, Dr. Suman, I think?
Yeah. Of course you can take. Of course.
Okay,
It's very, yeah, we have already crossed 2,000 participants. Okay, we have already crossed all over the all over world, from all over the world.
It is just
And
love of homeopathy. We all share so much of love of homeopathy.
yeah,
Love of homeopathy makes us do crazy things.
so everyone please stay till the end of the webinar, so that you will be getting so much value in your life, so much. Dr. Gorang, whatever Dr. Gorang will be delivering, no, you will not be getting in 1 or 2 years, I think. No, it is so much valuable, so much value he provides with his webinar. Okay, just stay with us. We will be delivering so much value till the end of the webinar. Okay, Dr. Gorang, go ahead, please.
Very interesting. You know, I'm just telling you a case I did about 1 hour back. Very interesting case. It just came to my mind, so I'm telling you. Again, this is a case for you, for
all of you, a little bit of a quiz. This is how homeopathy has to be learned. You take a case, you share it with people, look at people's answer, then discuss. This is how we have to develop discussion sessions. Not one way, not like a movie, not like a theater. So I saw this case of a child who had a lot of cough, bronchitis, about let's say 10-year-old child, just right now, about 1-2 hours back. And the main symptom is, the mother says there's a lot of cough, the child coughs a lot. But what is the symptom in the cough is, peculiarity that has developed is that the child especially feels very thirsty before the sleep. So every day the child sleeps nowadays at 12 o'clock, but before 12 o'clock, the child feels very, very thirsty. And because he feels thirsty, and also the child is sleepless till 12 o'clock. So even if the mother puts the child to sleep, okay, the mother is trying to put the child to sleep at 10 o'clock, the child doesn't sleep till 12 o'clock, constantly drinks water, and after 12 o'clock goes to sleep. This is the peculiarity. Okay, Dr. Suman.
Let's see if anyone can answer this. I'll wait for all of your answers. How do you see this case where a case of child with bronchitis is coughing a lot, and the mother says that the child cannot sleep till 12 o'clock, but before the sleep, especially before going to sleep, feels very, very thirsty, constantly feels very, very thirsty, and this is what increases the cough. Now, how do we think that? I'm exactly going to wait for 20 seconds before I tell you the answer. This is what you have to learn. You have to learn to pick up the peculiarities. And then you have to also learn how to take these peculiarities in materia medica and repertory. If you learn this, no, you don't require anything else. You'll be able to help so many people. All right. So what did I do? Let's have a look. What did I do?
So luckily for me, I knew the answer. So this is given in Lippi's Materia Medica. So if you open Lippi's Materia Medica, Bryonia, and you open sleep, have a look at the symptom of the sleep. Sleeplessness before midnight with thirst. See the artistic peculiarity, see the exactness. This is what I want you to learn. Learn the art of finding exact symptom. जो patient ने बोला है वो exact कैसे ढूंढना है. What patient is saying, how to find that exactly in rubric form. This is what you have to learn. And now you can also see this in rubrics. So if I put up, okay, what happened? Are you with me?
Yeah. Everything is okay.
1 minute. I think I missed it. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's see. Yeah, not this one. Yeah, this is the one. All right. Okay, so let's come back. And
let me show you in the rubric form also. And now if you see this in rubrics also, let's have a look. And you can see very beautifully, this is given in repertory, in the Nair repertory. Please have a look at this. See the exactness, and this is why you have to learn different repertories. Not only complete, not only Kent, but also therapeutic pocketbook, also Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory, also Nair, also Clark. It's amazing the literatures we have. We have to master it. So look at what Nair has written in Bryonia. Sleeplessness time midnight before. with thirst. See the beauty. This is bryonia. Not all patients of bryonia will tell you, my tongue is coated, I feel thirsty, slightest motion aggravates. So you have to expand your knowledge. You have to broaden your horizon. And that's what I have learned with all masters. And I want to tell you, you know what is the secret? What is the secret of success? The secret of success is not only hard work, not only passion, that everyone does, no? The secret of success is innovation, is originality. This is what we have to learn. Okay, let's come back after a little bit of a philosophical session. Let's come back. Let's go to the next case. So this is a case of cardiomyopathy, acute cardiomyopathy, 45-year-old lady. Okay. Again, this case, again, I'm going to ask you as a quiz. So I want all of you to focus. Okay. So what can you see here? Let's have a look. This is a case, okay, of cardiomyopathy. And if you see this very clearly, severe non-ischemic dilated cardiomyopathy with left ventricular dysfunction. And you can see LVEF, okay. LVEF is 20. I hope you can see this on the screen. The LVEF is 20. Now with this condition, the patient has come to see us. Okay. Now we have to take the history. What is the history? So it's a 45-year-old lady, bedridden, dropsical all over the body, unable to get up, lies down, diagnosed as cardiomyopathy, LVEF is very low, unable to breathe, has to use oxygen mask, palpitations, lot of chest pains, BP goes high, dropsy, so there's a lot of dropsical feeling in the feet. He's also taking antihypertensives, weight is increasing. So very important, what I do is I ask how it started. Exciting. So one of the first questions after finishing the chief complaint is how it started. And if the patient doesn't know how it started, go back to the past history of illness. Learn to go back into past history of illness. That is a very important art. Go back into past history of illness. So what is the past history of illness? That 8 years back, initially, she had developed glomerular nephritis. Entire body swelling, urine scanty, dysuria. So you understand that somewhere this was a strong past history of illness. What happened? What were the initial symptoms? So there was swelling in the edema, swelling edema in the feet. And what was the peculiarity in the swelling? This is what we have to learn in homeopathy. You have to learn to pick up the peculiarity. And what is the peculiarity? That the swelling started from left foot first and then went into the right foot. Left to right. So now the thing that I want to tell you, normally what we do, if we think left to right, we think straight away you think lachesis. Don't do that. Don't be prejudiced because we only know a little bit of homeopathy. Homeopathy is very vast. So go back to source book and study, and that's what I do. So what did I see? That the swelling comes from left foot to the right foot. Okay, very peculiarity. And from left to right it goes, and then it swells, it goes up towards the thigh. So from left to right and then going upwards. This is the direction. What else I see? She's very chilly. She cannot tolerate cold at all. No craving as such. Very lot of sweat all over the body. Fasting, cannot tolerate fasting at all. Very, very chilly. Thirst, frequent thirst. Then we focus at the mind state. What about mind state? Very, very worried all the time. Worried about smallest of things. Choti cheeze, she gets crazy. She'll fight. When I take her history, she sits and with her sister comes. This is very important. And I ask her, how are you? And she just looks at her sister like this. And then the sister see, doctor, she knows she doesn't listen to it. She doesn't eat on time. She doesn't sleep on time. She's always like this. And then she looks at her sister and says, Acha, terko kisne bola bolne ko? Who told you to talk? Let me talk. The doctor is asking me. So what I see in front of me, this is what you have to observe. I'm seeing that I'm asking a question to a patient, but there is a whole fight happening between the family in front of the doctor. This is the clinical eye you have to develop. This is her main state. She is very worried, but she's constantly fighting with her family members. Constant fear, what will happen? What will happen? What will happen? She's worried about future and very worried about the diagnosis. Now comes a very, very interesting thing. What I observe is I'm taking her history and she's lying down. But while examining and while talking to her, suddenly my laptop just touched her feet. And when my laptop touched her feet, suddenly she jerked up. Hurry! And I said, what happened? And she suddenly jerked up. She says, I don't know. I feel startled whenever someone touches little bit. I said, what happened? She says, मुझे गुदगुदी होती है. I'm very ticklish. I said, what happened? She said, I feel my feet are very ticklish. Someone touches it, I feel ticklish. This is what I want to tell you. So this is the case in short.
Question, Dr. Suman, I hope you are there. My question to all the participants. Which remedy in Kent Materia Medica, Kent has written that one day he went to see a patient and by mistake his feet touched the patient, and then suddenly the patient just felt very big jerk and just started like this. The same thing happened to me. So think, in Kent Materia Medica, which remedy has this? This is how you have to learn. Homeopathy is like this. Dr. Suman, just see the first person who gives the right answer. All right. So what did I do? Let's see. So now can I talk a little bit about using rare repertories, Dr. Suman? Can I do that?
Yeah, of course.
Is it okay?
You go on.
Okay. So what I do, and this is the topic of my next book.
Dr. Suman, I'm
send this book to you, which I'm working on. Me and my team is working on. And my work is, let me show you on the screen, maybe. Let's see if I can show you. Okay, maps. So what I've done is, I'm trying to form a kind of a book where how to use different repertories. How to use different repertories in homeopathy. Because what happens is we only know about one repertory, Kent, or we know only about complete. But there are many, many different repertories which are there. So this is what I want to talk to you about. And this is what my new book is about how to use different repertories. So what I've spoken about in this book is how, and this is part of the book, how I've spoken about different repertories like Kent. When do we use Kent repertory? Kent repertory we use, this is a classical repertory, and we mainly use this repertory in cases where just there are mind symptoms or physical symptoms. Okay. When do we use Phatak repertory? The main thing about Phatak is to generalize the local symptoms. So you use Phatak repertory. You especially use Phatak repertory in cases
where there are very, very specific general symptoms. You use Phatak repertory. Then, when do we use Nair repertory? Very interesting repertory of Herring's guiding symptom by Nair. When do we use this? It is a repertory. It's a clinical also repertory where especially the mind state and physical generals are always connected to each other. I will talk to you about this. So I have written like that. I'm writing like that. Different repertories, and this is going to be my contribution. When to use Boric repertory? Boric is totally clinical repertory. Whenever there are very clinical rubrics like angioma, abrotanum, atrophy of the body, oleum jack aceli, housemaid's knee, slag. So this is a kind of a Boric repertory. So what I'm now trying to build is to know, after studying the case, which repertory to use, when to use Kent, when to use Nair, when to use therapeutic pocketbook, when to use BBCR. And I hope once I complete this book, I'm going to send it to one of my teachers, Dr. Subhash Singh, for his valuable advice, which is very, very special for me. He's a huge mentor for me. Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory. When to use Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory, especially in cases where there are many modalities, when there are concomitants. That is when you use Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory. And I can tell you this, in Mumbai, in last 5 to 7 years, many cases of dengue and malaria we are treating, especially because of our application of Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory very beautifully. Maybe someday, Dr. Suman, will just discuss about Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory. It's one of the hidden gems of homeopathy, which we use a lot. Clark repertory. This is also amazing repertory which I use. The main thing about Clark repertory is it's a totally clinical repertory. And what do? The main thing about Clark repertory is there is a chapter in Clark repertory called as causation, where they have given only the causative factors. So for example, you can see how the Clark repertory is. There are 3 main chapters in Clark. One is clinical, another is causation, third is temperaments. But our main focus, which I put in, is causation. Let me give you an example. There is one patient comes to me, and his main symptom is, he tells me that whenever I drive in cold wind, I develop cough. So there are many remedies you can think. But if you open Clark, you can see driving in cold wind, and you can see the remedy Sanguinaria nitricum. This is given by Clark. Another patient comes to you, tells you, doctor, when I get up in the morning, when I get up before time, early rising causes symptom to me. So you can see in Clark, there is a rubric, early rising, Mentha piperata. So you can see this beautiful application of different repertories. There is also a repertory, Allen's Register. Very interesting repertory. It's a very underused repertory which we use here a lot. For example, one of the patient I had, he used to only get ankle swelling as soon as there is a movement. And whenever he would walk, there will be ankle swelling. Very beautifully, the remedy you can see. Arundo. Arundo is a remedy we normally think about upper respiratory tract infection. Itching in the palate. Arundo, like Vyathia. So this way, then there is Robert's repertory. This is a beautiful project that I'm working on different repertories, and God willing, after the lockdown is over, I'm going to release this book, publish this book for all of you. Another repertory, Robert's Sensation As If. So much before sensation method came in, there was a repertory, Sensation As If by Roberts. And the main thing is, it is a very subjective, it's a Puritan type of repertory. It's a concordance repertory. So what it is, I'll give you one of the examples. For example, patients could come and tell you that, doctor, in the chest, I feel like choked. So you can open internal chest, choked in chest, and you'll get a single remedy, Lilium tig. So in this way, there are different types of repertory. And also there are softwares in today's times. I use different types of softwares. The repertory I use is Synergy software, which I believe is the best in the world. And then there is also one more software, it's called as Reference Works, which is also very interesting, and I use it a lot. So in this way, I use different repertories. And that is the main thing I want to tell you. Don't get stuck and fixed only to one thing. Broaden your horizon. That is my main thing towards you. Hahnemann in his life wrote 6 volumes of Organon, 6 versions of Organon. So do we get stuck only to one method or one technique, or can we broaden our horizon? So with this message, let me go across to my finish my case. You remember we were talking about this case of cardiomyopathy where LVF was very low. It was 20, and one of the peculiarity was that the swelling started from right to left, from left to right and going up, and also slightest touch of the laptop, and she felt. So here, how to find the peculiarity? You know, it's very easy to find peculiarity, but where to find that peculiarity in repertory? So I use the Nair repertory. See the beauty of Nair repertory. Today I will teach you. Interesting. Whenever you read the repertory, understand the repertory. What's written? Repertory of Herring's guiding symptom. So whenever you use Nair repertory, you should open Herring guiding symptom along with it. Whenever you use Phatak repertory, use Phatak materia along with it. It is like a whole synergy way of using repertory and materia medica together. You can't use Nair repertory with Kent materia medica. You will get confused because their work is totally different. So what is the main thing about Nair repertory? How did I use this rubric? Let's see. So the rubric I took was extremities, feet sensitiveness, touched when ever so lightly, she jerks them up much frightened. And you can see, I hope you can see this on the screen, a single remedy there, Kalika. So beautiful, isn't it? Next, very peculiar symptom, feet swelling left to right, gradually extending over whole body. Again, you can see Kalika. And you can see in the bracket nephritis. You remember there was a past history of Kalika, of nephritis. So this is the
finding exact symptoms. I hope, Dr. Suman, you're hearing this, and I hope people are answering. I hope some of our audience also answered Kalika.
Yes.
All right.
So you can see this peculiar rubric, feet swelling, edema, extending right, left to right, going upwards. And beautifully, when you open Phatak materia medica, you can now understand sphere of action. This is very important. You know, normally in homeopathy, we only look at individual symptoms. Also give importance to sphere of action. And what do we see here in Kalika? Let's have a look. Weakness caused by potassium salt is pronounced in typical salt of potassium group. Weakness of muscles and heart. So what is muscles? What is cardiopathy? Cardiomyopathy, it is muscles of the heart. So you can see the sphere of action matching exactly. And finally, you can read a favorite, you know, one of my first,
and I think Dr. Suman and everyone will tell you that when I was in Kolkata, and the first person I met in Kolkata was Dr. Subhas Singh, and he really took me under
his wings and took real care of me. And he never tried to tell me that do this or do that. But the main thing I really was fond of about Kolkata, and especially about Dr. Subhas Singh, was the way in which he lets people have their own space and also motivates them. So this special quality, which unfortunately is not there in many other schools, but it is there in Kolkata, is the reason why we have a leader like Dr. Subhas Singh. So he motivated a lot of us to read Materia Medicas. He would keep sessions at his house where a lot of, I remember postgraduate students, MD students would come in the evening, 10-15 of them, and then they will discuss one remedy from different books. So this kind of
to read different books is something that I learned more in Kolkata. And that's where he used to tell us to read not just Allen's keynote, but also Lippi's Redline keynotes, and also Kent's Materia Medica, also Tyler, also Nash, also Farrington, also Pulford. So this kind of, he used to often say, thoda pagalpan hona chahiye. Pagalpan nahi hai to baat nahi banegi. So I believe that is very important, which I learned, that we need to be a little crazy. Only then can we be really good homeopaths. So coming back, you can see Kali Ka, it's written
Kent. Kali Ka patient is so sensitive in soles of feet that a mere touch of the sheet brings sensation of thrill throughout the body. And then it's very nicely he has written, I have often examined feet when patient would shiver and drop the feet and scream out, don't tickle my feet.
Gaurang, sorry to interrupt you.
So lightly that he did not know that I had touched it at all. So this is the beauty, how it is written in Materia Medica, and then you will see it in real life also.
Gaurang, एक मिनट interrupt करूं?
Anytime sir, पूरा interrupt कीजिए, आपका ही है पूरा.
थोड़ा सा पागल होने को बोला था, but you have become such a man. You are doing such a tremendous job. तुम जिस तरह से ये इन सब किताबों को लेके सामने ला रहे हो, and you are motivating our patient to read these lesser read books. We all are so proud of you, Gaurang. जिस तरह से selflessly काम करते हो, ये हम लोगों के लिए बहुत गर्व की बात है. और तुमको NIH में हम लोगों ने बुलाया था. We want you to come more often so that you can share all the good work you are doing with us and our students. Keep it up, Gaurang. So proud of you.
Continue. So grateful. Continue. So you remain a biggest inspiration of my life, sir. All right. Thank you so much. It's an emotional moment for me. So
yeah. Okay, so let's come back. So that's what I gave Kali Ka, and I gave in low potency Kali Ka 30. The kind of repetition I did was 1 dose every week. This is something I do. I don't fix a potency or repetition. I choose the approach and then do it. So that's what I gave Kali Ka 30, and I want to show you the follow-up after 2 months. You remember this case very well, where the LVF was 20. You can see this 22 to 25% LVF, and I want to show you this, how and what happened with LVF. And if you see this very clearly, if you focus here, because I can't zoom it more than this, you can see the LVF is 40%. I hope some of you can see this. That within 2 months of Kali Ka 30, the breathlessness, the dropsy, the swelling, the everything improved, and the LVF became double. This is the beauty of homeopathy. This is what I want to tell you. And I'm so grateful to all my teachers who treated me like their own children. And that's why probably I dedicate every single book to all of my teachers. Okay. Before I go ahead, I have to tell you this, and I heard Dr. Suman has told, I have written a small book for all of you right now. It's called as Homeopathic Approach in Acutes. I don't know if I've told you about it. Homeopathy Approach. Okay, this is the book. Let's see. Khulja. Yeah, this is the book.
I'll just show it over the screen. Okay, so this is the book that I have written just for all of you in last few days, Homeopathic Approach in Acutes. And I've dedicated it to one of my really close a philosopher and guide, Dr. Gajanan Dhanipkar from Mumbai. And I've written here about different approaches in acute. This is especially thanks to one of my team members, Dr. Juhi, who has helped me. And here I have written about different acute cases. I've written about how to do case taking in acutes. What are the important remedies in upper respiratory tract infection, in fevers, Materia Medica, etc. This is a book. I'm sending it to Dr. Suman, And
Yeah.
I'm going to share this as a gift to all of you on Hahnemann Day from my side. So I hope you can connect to Dr. Suman, and this whole book, a 50-page book that I've written, he will be able to send you. If you're not able to get it, then write back to Suman, or you can write to me also. I will send you. Let's come back.
So the last case for today, I think I have exactly 15 minutes more. So the last case for today, I want to share with you. You know, luckily I got a chance to spend
Time in with really good homeopaths, and luckily for me, I was never fixed into one system. I was never fixed into one method. They let me loose. They let me choose what I want to do, and that's the way I was. So because of that, I spent a lot of time reading a lot of books. So one of my favorite books, which I want to tell you, is a book by Dr. Magan Bhai Desai. It's a book called as, I don't know if you have this book. It's a book called as Coma. I think this is a book also was introduced to me in Kolkata in National Institute of Homeopathy only. Special thanks to Subhash Singh sir. So this book, Coma, changed the way I
Dr. Gaurang, audio got
Dr. Gaurang,
disconnected.
you are not audible, please.
Yeah. Audio got disconnected. Yeah. No. It is not working. Yeah. Now it is working.
Dr. Suman, I think he is not getting you actually. Can you please call him and tell him that his
No, no.
audio is not audible?
Yeah. I'm asking. Dr. Gaurang, your audio is not audible. We cannot hear you.
সুমন
Yeah. Yes, sir.
গৌরাঙ্গের নাম্বার আছে
Yes. I'm calling.
একটা ফোন করে দে না
Okay. I'm calling.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear?
say yes.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, you can hear. Okay, let me finish the last case for today. Okay, you can hear me. So let's go ahead. So this is a case.
This is a, let me just go back to my share situation. Okay, all right. So let's come back. So this is a case which I learned because I spent a lot of time reading the book Coma by Dr. Magan Bhai Desai. He was a homeopath based in Baroda, and he treated many cases of coma actually at home. He would actually get patients at home and treat them with remedies like Helleborus, zincum, zincum sulf, opium in high potency, 10 m, 50 m, frequent repetition, and he treated many cases of coma. And I was so inspired that I started taking up many cases of coma. And one of the cases I'm going to present in front of you right away. So this is a case of a subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, and I had to go to Kasturba Hospital, Mumbai, to see this patient. This is a case at least more than 4 years back. So this is a child. When I went to see him, you can see this person on screen. This child, there wasn't any response for 72 hours after giving a lot of allopathic medications. So this subacute sclerosing panencephalitis generally happens after measles, and the child was just not responding to anything, was on ventilator in a very bad situation. And in this situation, and they belong to very, very simple family. The father came to me and I had to treat him. So what was the situation? Let's have a look. How to analyze? So I tried to do with homeopathy. See, if you give opium to all cases of coma, they will not respond. The secret is also individualization, even in cases of coma. And the secret is in going into past history, trying to understand how the picture of coma developed. So what are the symptoms? That post measles, there was encephalitis. The child had fever and eruptions for 2 weeks. The patient also was well-known case of Wilson's disease, was taken to a hospital in Sion, no response. Then taken to Kasturba, no response for 8 days. Then what? Glasgow coma scale below 4. Glasgow's coma scale is a very important scale to know the type of the response to coma. This is why I want to tell you, homeopaths. I don't know, most of you know, but I come from a history of my parents are ophthalmologists. So for me, it was very important to know much before going into homeopathy, clinical diagnosis, clinical investigations, clinical symptoms. So I spend a lot of time studying with different allopathic doctors about clinical medicine as well. So Glasgow coma scale is basically a scoring where you have to understand the eye response, the verbal response, and motor response. And if the response is less than 3, it is totally unresponsive. But the best response is above 15. Comatose we call if the Glasgow coma scale is below 8. So this is the entire situation of the Glasgow coma scale. And our patient was the Glasgow coma scale was below 4. When I went to Kasturba, they were not allowing homeopaths to come inside. So they had to tell me as, okay, this is a family member, and I had to go to take the history. This is where now you have to understand anamnesis. So the history anamnesis was given to me by his father. What was the symptom? History of chronic cough and cold, constant cough. What was the symptom in cough? You have to understand. What is the symptom cough? During the cough, the cheeks go inside of the child. So this was a peculiar symptom that during the cough, the face cheeks would go inside. This was a peculiarity of past history that I noted down. Fever was not improving for 3 weeks. I asked the mother that during fever, there was fever around the area of umbilicus. Now you can see how minutely you have to analyze the case. The feet became cold during examination, during the fever also. No thirst, no appetite, very difficult to express. Nature about him beforehand. So you're not going to get any nature right now, because right now the patient is comatose. What was the nature? Previously nature dull, not able to respond at all. Mother's history during pregnancy, no response. So now how to analyze this? How to analyze this case? So especially now how to find out this symptom where cough, the cheek is drawn in. This kind of symptom, concomitant, is often Boger-Bonninghausen characteristics repertory. So I open cough, concomitant, cheeks drawn in, and you can all see this in repertory, all of you in front of you, and there's a remedy, Carbovich. That's the remedy in front of you. And that's the remedy when I analyze. Now I analyze with Boger-Bonninghausen repertory, sleek comatose, partial heat umbilical region, coldness lower extremity feet, coldness hands, cough concomitant cheeks drawn in, and very important from generalities measles after, and you can see Carbovich coming up. This is a way to analyze, but don't stop here. Then I analyze with Phatak repertory, reaction lack of, poor, coldness single part, Carbovich. Don't stop here. Go to Materia Medica, Phatak Materia Medica. Vital power becomes low, loss of vital fluids, and especially from grave and serious disease. So that's what I did. In this type of cases, you cannot give 1M or 30M. I gave Carbovich 10M. Carbovich 10M, what you have to do in coma cases, take liquid and apply it on the wrist, on the ankle, and on the forehead. So beautifully with Carbovec 10M, within 4 doses, the response of Glasgow went from 4 to 9. And after 2 days, the response stopped. Then I went to 50M. And with help of 50M, beautifully, the response improved. The child later on became conscious. The vitals improved. Ventilator was put off. And I actually have a video testimonials, but I can't show you the video right now because of limited time. Within 10 days, the child was out, and you could see this. The child was totally out of coma, and you can see the smile on the father's face. The child is still on homeopathy. I'm still treating him for other conditions, but he has beautifully improved. So this is the beauty of homeopathy. The main thing I want to tell you, all of you here, is that broaden your horizon. Just remember this. Don't get stuck. Broaden your horizons and be original. Be innovative. You know, Hahnemann, if you want to learn something from Hahnemann, don't only learn about homeopathy, learn from him as a human being. And who was Hahnemann? He was a scientist. He was a researcher. He was an innovator. He was an original man. And this is what I want all of you to do. So it was just so amazing to come today and talk to all of you. This is my email ID. Please write to me. I would really like all of you to write to me and tell me how did the talk go. And if you have any questions, thoughts, just write to me. I've written a couple of books. I've written a book on mind rubrics. I've written a book on Materia Medica, Nosot, Sarcode. My new book on thyroid is going to be published. My new book on different repertories is going to be published. So yeah, I have a YouTube channel called as Homeopathic Hub, where I put up a lot of videos. I'm doing Boric Materia Medica series, where I put up all the Materia Medica knowledge there. You can all watch it. And yeah, I do a lot of webinars. There's one webinar I'm going to do on 14th Feb where I'm going to talk about BBCR. But coming back to main thing, you can write to me. But there is a book that I've written for all of you that I hope Dr. Suman can share. So with this, I really want to thank all of you, and especially Dr. Suman, and especially NIH and Dr. Subha Singh, because these people have made an immense impact in my life. So once in your lifetime, at least, all of you people who are, I know a lot of people are watching this from all across the world. Once in your lifetime, go to Kolkata, go to NIH, and spend some time with masters there. And I don't know how you can go there and which day. There is going to be a Hahnemann Day that we were trying to celebrate with Dr. Subhas Singh. Maybe we are going to postpone it. But once in your lifetime, wherever you are, whoever you are, if you're a homeopath, go to Kolkata, spend some time, and definitely meet the masters there, including Dr. Subhas Singh. This is what I wanted to tell you. I'm so grateful you called me, Dr. Suman and Dr. Subhas Singh. It's a huge honor for me to talk.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Gaurang. Thank you very much.